otherwise. But I want to touch base with Chris Scott here. By the way, Rhea, Chris Scott, I don't know if you've heard, he's the owner of the Whistle Stop Cafe in Mirror, Alberta. And he defied the Canadian government by keeping his cafe open during the COVID
I heard
lockdown.
about you, Chris.
Yeah, and Justin Trudeau kicked him in jail. But either way, I want to call on Chris Scott because he's got a scoop. Imagine that. And then I would like to touch base with James McCormick, Cap McCormick, my Purple Heart hero, to talk about. We're talking Gen Zs really in Alpha and how to communicate to them. Over to you here, Chris, and take as much as time as you need, because indeed a lot of the listeners have never heard of you and of you, and there'll be a lot of people on replay and replatforming for this. So take the mic here and take all the time you need, Chris.
Thanks, Greg. I actually don't have too much time. I ran out of time a few minutes ago, but I'll shave off a few more minutes here for you. I just want to really quickly go over some solutions. So earlier, Captain McCormick asked, how can Americans help? Well, here's the reality. If you look at the situation we're facing in Alberta, in Canada, even in the United States, what gets change happening? It's attention. It's not just attention, but people have to know, right? So the Alberta Prosperity Project, of which I'm the CEO, the interim CEO, that's what our job is. We're trying to get this out to Albertans as to, hey, this is the problem, this is the solution, this is how we get there. I see on there's a man by the name of Tim Hoven listening right now. Tim was an independent MLA candidate for the Rimley Rocky Mountain House Sundre area. He's also the president of an organization called Take Back Alberta. Now, Take Back Alberta, I mentioned before that Canadians are very non-civically engaged. Take Back Alberta motivated tens of thousands of Albertans to start showing up and voting and using their voices. And one of the results was we forced our premier to resign in this province. So Tim is a great guy to talk to about that. Also, I see that Chris and Carrie Productions, of which I am the Chris, and Carrie, I'm assuming, is listening. They're listening as well. Carrie's another business owner who lost his bar and his restaurant in Calgary through all this. So you got a lot of people on right now that are very well versed in these things. So the solution is exactly the same as it was for business owners who were done with the restrictions. It's stand up and say enough is enough, whether it's individually in your municipality, in your province, in your country, whatever. People have to start showing up and using their voices. Um, now, thank goodness for COVID, and I know that sounds weird, but that opened our eyes to a lot of these things, and it really got us looking at what was going on around us. So, solution-wise, we need to start taking back the institutions that have led us astray. Municipal councils, school boards, library boards, all of these things. We have to start showing up, doing our civic duty, and being engaged. We have to not just vote in elections, but we have to be involved in our constituency association meetings. We have to be involved in our political parties, in annual general meetings, making policy, all those types of things. We have to get involved, and not everybody will. The younger generation, a lot of people, maybe they don't care, maybe they just ignore everything because they're doing okay. But the reality is we're not going to reach everyone. But it's important to note that there's been some studies. I can't remember what the professor's name was, but she determined that it only takes 3 to 3.5% of the people in a society to change the direction of the society. So every single one of us who's been affected, every one of us who wants change and can see the problems, we have to be involved. We have to be that 3.5% that changes the direction of society. And if we have to drag people kicking and screaming with us to get to prosperity, that's what we have to do. And we have to not be concerned about it. So if Americans want to help this, I would say help the organizations in Alberta that are doing these things. Become a member of the Alberta Prosperity Project. Yes, you can do that even if you're an American. Get to know the messaging and what we're doing. Financially support. Do the types of things that we do in elections. If you want to win an election, you have to get your name out there. Mr. KESLER knows all about this. If we could get this message, if we could get the APP message out to every man, woman, and child in Alberta, we would win. But in order to do that, it's going to cost a pile of money. And the problem with some of the things that have happened in Alberta, for instance, our premier resigning, is that a lot of people went right back to sleep and thought, oh, we won, we don't need to do anything. Well, that's not the case. but those people are also people that, you know, donate and help do ad campaigns and education campaigns and billboards and stuff like that. If we could, if we could build, um, if we could build a war chest of finances that we could splash this whole province with information about these issues, we would have a really, really good chance at making some difference. And by Alberta standing up, you know, the rest of Canada probably would as well. And it's kind of contagious. Courage is contagious, and this will be it'll create a ripple effect over the rest of the world. So that's what I say for solutions. It's the same as it's always been. Stand up and get involved, and don't listen to those people that say that your vote doesn't matter, your voice doesn't matter. Those people are responsible for the situation that we're in right now, and I won't give them a second more of my time. Unfortunately, I also don't have any more seconds of time, so I better go. But thank you very much, Greg, for inviting me to the show, and thank you to the other speakers and participants. I've really enjoyed listening to what you say, and I would be thrilled to have any one of you on my podcast on the Chris and Carrie show here in Alberta. I'd love to talk about this stuff more when we have more time. So thank you very much.
That's Chris Scott from Mirror, Alberta, owner of the famous Whistle Stop Cafe. What a show it's been. Wow.